today?
Good. Yesterday, I missed yesterday's show.
You did.
I had to take my son to the dentist, but
Tell me about the dentist, because I don't want to talk about the Dodgers unless
well,
we're
no
actually on.
cavities, no cavities, that's the headline there, right? No cavities. Everything was great.
Wonderful.
He is still adjusting to the dentist. Every trip gets a little bit easier than the trip before it. So,
yeah.
He's okay with the dental X-rays, which to me is a big thing because dental X-rays are the worst.
They are
stone cold worst. But still not really a fan of the electric toothbrush. They still have to use the manual one. But
I mean, electric toothbrush takes a little bit of time. Like using an electric toothbrush took me time to understand. Like, okay, I can get past the little tickle from the bristles while it's moving. All right, Parker, take us away because I think we have sound again.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of the Blue Review. Everyone, thanks for hanging in there tonight.
Just breathe. Woosah.
Namaste. Namaste.
Remember your pressure points, Marcus.
Thank you, everyone, for hanging in there tight. We know it's a Tuesday and you want to react to a big win against the Giants, so we'll do that. We have about 15 minutes to do so. So before we do, I just want to remind everyone that here at the Blue Review, we're presented by the Los Angeles International Airport. So thank you to LAX, of course, just for always reducing traffic, saving guests time, and transforming that travel experience. And if you want to learn more, flylax.com/transforminglax. So Marcus and Greg, River Ryan absolutely shines. And of course, our favorite current Dodger right now, Teoscar, kicks some butt. There is no such thing as a home run derby hangover. Marcus, how are we feeling after that win last night?
Feeling great. No, I mean, it was a good win. And look, they're 4-0 after the All-Star break. All four wins are come from behind wins. And yesterday was everything you could want it to be. I mean, River Ryan gets you into the 6th inning. The first time in his professional baseball career that he has pitched into the 6th inning. And I think from what I heard on the broadcast, he is the first Dodgers starter to record an out in the 6th inning since early July.
July 5th. July 5th. Yeah.
So like that was great. And then obviously Teo coming up with 3 big hits, the home run and a pair of RBI hits as well to drive in all 3 runs. It was a great continuation of the post All-Star break and a great start to this series.
It was really nice to see guys like River Ryan do well and Teoscar Hernandez. Am I frozen? Okay, Teoscar Hernandez. I have to just say over and over again, I love this man. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not allowed to show my love for this man. Teoscar Hernandez makes me so happy to watch on a daily basis. It's just with big hits, excitement in the clubhouse, in the dugout. He's just a guy that you just feel like you want to be around just in general. And it was. I think I saw it in the chat. Teoscar, Ruben Flores, Teoscar 3, Giants 2. Just fantastic. I love it so much. It makes me so happy to see this guy just every single day. So what a great dude. We should sign him right now. Right this second. I want him in a long-term contract. Bring him over here. I don't care what it takes. You got all the money in the world. If Guggenheim can create their own series in Tokyo next year, they can sign Teoscar Hernandez right now. Okay.
What's wild is that you have 2 guys who look. Miguel Rojas, was a guy that Dodger fans weren't really sure they wanted him back, and he's actually provided a lot of really great baseball for them when they've needed it most. And then Teoscar was a guy who, with all the big signings, he was sort of like, oh yeah. Also, by the way, they added Teoscar Hernandez, and I was thinking last night, Greg, you could make a case that he might be the Dodgers' most valuable player. Like, he's not going to be in the running for National League most valuable player, but what he has brought to this team, the way he has performed in big situations at the plate when all the other guys have had slumps at some point, he really has been a driving force for this offense this year.
Yeah,
I might add 27 RBIs with 2 outs, which
that's amazing.
4th best.
Crazy.
In the league. That is just amazing and so detrimental to this team, instrumental to this team winning games, and all these come from behind wins. It's amazing. Teo, we love him.
Yeah. We do. Every time you need a big hit, and he's up to the plate, I feel good. He's not going to get one every time, obviously, but just if he can stay like this going into the postseason, I'm so excited to see just the emotion he's going to show. I think that's something that this Dodger team hasn't shown over the last few years. They've been very workmanlike, and that can be good in certain situations, like the Patriots, as you know, in the NFL, very workmanlike, just went about their business and won championships, and it worked for them. This team, it didn't seem to work for them. They always seemed to lose to the teams that were the dugout was going wild or had some like duck that screwed us over with the Padres or whatever it happened to be. There was always something, the excitement and the just the joy you saw in the dugout kind of like built those guys up, like for the Padres and the Diamondbacks. And that's what Teo is going to bring. No matter what, whether he's slumping or not, he's going to bring this extra energy that this dugout needs in the postseason. And it's just going to, I really think he's going to make a massive difference this year.
No, I think so too. And look, I've said before, like, I think a lot of what they were missing was sort of that energy. It was sort of why when Teoscar Hernandez came back, I thought, okay, maybe he can be that guy. But I think Teo works better because, one, he brings that sort of energy, but also he's producing on the field. You need a guy, I think, that's giving you a certain level of on-field production to also be able to have that voice in the clubhouse. And right now he is doing that in waves, right? The 27 2-out RBIs, what he has done through the first half, what he did at the home run derby. He really has put it together on the field. And so I think that energy somehow becomes infectious because look, as much as, they're counting on Mookie and Freddie and Shohei and those guys, Will Smith, that's not the way they play ball. And I think asking them to suddenly change it feels disingenuous. But for Teo, it is absolutely natural. This is just who he is.
And they got two of those guys now. They got Teo and Rojas. Well, a little bit of injured. He should be fine. But you have two guys that are going to keep the dugout really lifted. And so it's nice to see that. That really be helpful, Parker.
Yeah. No, and let's just be honest. Shohei, I think, is that guy as well. We just haven't seen it. But he's that guy. If you go back, watch the WBC, if you watch some of his big hits as a Dodger, he gets hype. He goes to the crowd. He goes to the dugout trying to get him hype. So I think he's another one who is less workman than we have seen. Even though he's very professional, he doesn't talk to the media as much. I think he's less workman. I think he's more team-oriented. And we'll start seeing that as we get closer to the playoffs because he's going to start having an energy that he's never had before. So I'm excited to see that as well.
Yeah. It's going to be great. But can we get into River Ryan now since we only have a few minutes left?
Sure.
So River Ryan, I thought last night was basically everything you wanted. You mentioned it, Marcus, that he got an out in the sixth inning for the first time since early July. But for the most part, he didn't strike a lot of guys out, but you saw that the velocity was there. He kept his pitch count down. It was down the entire game, and he used all 6 of his pitches, which I really like to see. I think for a very first start, I don't think you could have asked for much more. And that one run that he did give up, it wasn't his fault. It was a pass ball by Will Smith. He hopefully could have gotten out of that no matter what, but still, like it was an unearned run. So I thought he looked the part, and hopefully next time he can just not be so wild because eventually that'll come back to bite him against another team that's actually a good team, not the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it, I think early on the wildness was probably a thing of nerves, just sort of getting ready to pitch. I think late it was he was just exhausted. I think getting into the 6th inning, even if it was only a mental thing, just the idea of pitching into the 6th inning, because when he started to miss late, he missed badly. And I think that was just more of a fatigue thing and just sort of getting his mind right about it. But you're right. I mean, one unearned run, on a just one that Will Smith just boxed trying to steal a strike or whatever. So that was the only blemish that he had in the game. And it made me think too, though, the future potentially is bright for this pitching staff, right? I mean, here we are. We are winding down on Clayton Kershaw's career. We don't know what the future is going to be for Walker Buehler. I think we have to ask questions about the future of Dustin May after this latest surgery. But Gavin Stone has been awesome all year long. Yep. Landon Knack has given them some good starts. Justin Robleski, I thought, acquitted himself very well when he came up and made a few starts. And now we get River Ryan. Granted, it's only one start. It's against a not great offensive team, but he came up and he pitched really, really well. So, I know we had Bruce Kuntz on a couple days ago to talk about the farm system, but it seems like the pitching staff is developing very, very well.
Yeah, and think about what this pitching staff is going to look like next year. And by the way, think about what it is right now. Your starters are, you mentioned all of them, the Stone, Ryan, Robleski, Knack. That's 4 rookies. That is your pitching staff. I mean, luckily, Tyler Glasnow's coming back tomorrow, and then Kershaw on Thursday. I don't really know what you're going to get out of Kershaw. You can't really rely on anything for them. But for a while, you were rookie-based. Your entire, and you still are 8 games. I don't know if it changed after last night, but you're still up high in the division. And then you look at what you have. I just don't know which of these guys are going to go. If you're going to trade for somebody like the Crochet deal, or if you can somehow get Skubal, some of these guys are going to have to go.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, and it is a question of which guys go. I don't know because right now I would like to see them all stick around and see them develop, but understandably, like you have to move on from somebody in order to acquire somebody.
Yeah, but like next year you're gonna have it's gonna be Glasnow, Yamamoto, Bobby Miller, Gavin Stone. It could be Roki Sasaki.
There could be Sasaki in there, yeah.
And then Shohei, and then Shohei's pitching again next year, most likely. So I mean, you got a pretty good staff there next year.
Yeah, and then I like that it was and then Shohei. Just like,
Right.
gosh, we forgot that he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Too.
By the way, I guess we're talking about River Ryan and these young guys coming up. We should give a hat tip to James Paxton, who got DFA'd yesterday, which was a big surprise, I think, to all of us. But I feel like we should at least applaud and thank him for what he gave this team, right? I mean, he was one of two guys that made every turn through the rotation. It wasn't always pretty, but it was effective. He was an innings eater for a club that at some point started to need innings eaters. So, certainly wish him well. I'm sure somebody will pick him up and give him a chance to start. It was a numbers game, right? You got guys getting healthy and coming back. I think the Dodgers knew it was going to be tough to get him regular turns in the rotation. So, this is a chance for him to go somewhere, and who knows where he latches on. But shout out to James Paxton, who I think gave this team everything that they would have hoped for so far this year.
Yeah, he did everything that he was asked of, and he was great. So usually by DFAing him, you don't lose him. You just take him off the 40-man roster, just so that people in the chat, if they're wondering, he goes off the 40-man roster. You now have 7 days to put him back on the 40-man, trade him or waive him. So the trade deadline being 7 days away, they have an opportunity to try and go move him out of here. So if you can maybe put him into something. And also the fact is he has a $9 million deal. He has reached all of that. He had a $4 million base and $5 million in incentives. He reached every single incentive when he pitched on Sunday. So he's also more a bigger trade component because of what they saw out of him, that he can be an innings eater. He can get out of situations. And now you don't actually have to pay him. If you're the other team, you don't have to pay him anything. You're paying him $1.5 million, and that's it. So you're going to get a guy that will give you innings for $1.5 million. And if you're a team like the White Sox, that's just an easy throw in to have somebody that can help you out for the year. And then he's gone at the end of the year. It's an expiring contract, essentially. So everything that it did, it just makes so much sense to let Paxton go now and go latch on somewhere else in a trade. And he was not going to be a part of the rotation in the postseason. So look at these young guys, look at what you have for the guys coming back from injury, and Bueller and Miller and all that kind of stuff. So good for him. Very, very happy with everything you got out of him. Now, like you said, not always pretty, but he got the job done.
Yeah.
We got to respect Paxton, and you got to look at where the injuries lie and what they're really, really focusing on at the moment. They needed bullpen flexibility, so they weren't going to get rid of a bullpen guy. And I know people in the chat are asking why wasn't Biggio DFA'd? That's a great question.
He should be.
Yeah.
Like today is totally fine.
Yeah,
Chris Taylor, by the way, was phenomenal at third last night.
I mean, he played some great defense. He's hitting the ball better. It's really hard to make a case to keep Chris Taylor off the field right now.
Yeah, they're not going to get rid of those clubhouse guys at the moment as well. When you're in this moment of limping through the season, you need some voices in the locker room. So that kind of helps as well. But of course, 4-0 in their last game since the All-Star break, as you mentioned, Marcus. They're playing great ball. Before we kind of wrap it up here, what do you expect, Greg, from just the rest of this series? Seeing, of course, Glasnow and Kershaw. We'll start with the Glasnow game.
Well, so it's Atlanta Knack tonight. I expect the same thing at Atlanta Knack, not throwing so crazy hard, but getting outs, and just you want 4 or 5 innings out of Glasnow. Not out of Knack. So whatever you can get out of him, great. You want the wins, obviously, but I'm really hopeful for Glasnow tomorrow because he has had some time off. He needed that little break, and hopefully he can come back and be the Glasnow that we know, because he was giving up runs. He had been giving up 5+ runs over his last month and a half, Marcus. I think it was something like that. Mm-hmm. So I just want him to come out and look like the Glasnow that we know and getting ready for the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, look, and tonight's a big one, right? If they win tonight, I feel good about their chances with Glasnow on the mound on Wednesday because, really, it is a black box of what we're going to get from Clayton Kershaw. We have no idea. And I know this is projecting way, way ahead, but I take no pleasure in telling you guys that the Astros are good again.
No, of course. That was so obvious. That
I
was.
was. It was very
like,
incredibly obvious.
They were like 20 games below 500. I'm like, they're going to be in the playoffs. Stop it. Don't say it's the end of the Astros. It's so. And Jordan Alvarez, of course, it's for the cycle the other day. Like, get out of here. These freaking guys. Just not a fan.
We can get to that. We can get to that on Thursday. We'll get to that on Thursday. It's fine.
I got out of the bad mood from starting late, and you put me right back into it.
Have fun, have fun, Travis and Sliwa.
All right, take us away, Parker.
Well, thank you, of course, everyone in the chat for being here. I know we got off to a little bit of a rough start, but we were here talking Dodgers baseball, as we will every weekday from 9:30 to 9:55, hopefully. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you to Greg. Thank you to Marcus. Thank you to LAX for the Blue Review. I have been Parker Bell, and we will catch you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat.